Hey, what's up everybody? Prospector here, the Watcher Around. We have Brokkir and Valeriya's banner coming up this weekend. To summon or not to summon? That is the question. We're gonna find out in this video. Without further ado, let's dig in. Alright, so we'll go right into the events area. And of course, since, what is it, Monday or Tuesday, you can already see these events popping up. We have this banner coming up this weekend. Banner has Valeriya, Brokkir, Brienne, Imani, and our good friend Yangwar. I think that's how you say it. As for the epics, Brienne is pretty common pull. Imani's a little more rare, but I guess if you wanted to try for some epics as a free-to-play early game, maybe it'd be a good idea to try to get yourself a Brienne and Imani. As far as Yangwar, I don't know, I'm not really a crazy fan of the guy. I wouldn't go hoping that you're gonna get him. As for free-to-play, Valeriya is a very good unit for single target arena. It's really hard to beat. She's only beaten by a very select few of heroes, or typically ancient exclusive heroes. You can at least make you a contender in single target arena, especially just like approaching Overlord. After that, you're gonna start running into issues. Brokkir is one of the best defenders in the game. Probably is the best defender in the game for most of the content that we have, especially like Void Rift. He's super useful in Void Rift. Brokkir is a much more common pull than you would think, and my problem with this banner is most of these heroes are pretty common pulls, with the exception of Valeriya. I think she's pretty common, but she might be tougher for a lot of people to get. Now I'm gonna go over their kits quick, kind of explain what's going on. Valeriya, she has a talent, increases attack and defense based on lost HP up to 60% at 30% HP. She is a chaotic faction hero, so if you run her with a Vladoff or Valderon or any of those Chaos Lords, that is going to help you do a ton of extra damage with her. It's almost a requirement to be viable in single target arena. But she is also part of the Nightmare faction, so if you're really early game, you could use her for a Guild Boss 1 team. She's a little hard to use because she kind of offs herself sometimes. You gotta have to get that timing just right to use her for it. She can do a ton of damage. She is also useful in Gear Dungeon 2, I believe it is. Yeah, Gear Dungeon 2. The later stages on the left side there. She can kind of handle those Volca clones coming out of the top and down the left side pretty much by herself. Alright, on the basic. His physical attack deals 120% damage to one enemy. First passive is Plunging Slash. Smashes one enemy within 2 tiles ahead, doing 240% damage, inflicting vulnerability to physical damage of 20%. During the ultimate, each attack reduces Plunging Slash's cooldown by 2 seconds. Next passive is Will of Steel. When HP drops below 30%, restores 2% HP per second. Triggers the following effect instead during the ultimate. The hero enters the Unyielding state upon taking fatal damage and dies immediately after when the ultimate ends, which can be triggered up to 1 time per deployment. This is the issue if she's in an ultimate form, whether you have Carnelian or not. If she goes down to that 1% HP, she's just gonna go. She could have the Unyielding buff from Carnelian or whatever, and she's gone. If she goes down to 0, she's gone. On the ultimate is Blood Infusion. Damage plus 80%. Each attack consumes 10% of the current HP and generates 1 stack of Power of the Sword, up to 8 stacks. Power of Sword is burst damage to the main target increased by 50% with each stack after the skill ends. The hero cannot be healed during the skill. When the skill ends, deals 400% burst damage to the main target and 4 targets around them. So if you have multiple really high HP, high defense targets around you, and you take one of them down and the ult ends, she's just gonna go down there and she's gonna slam them so hard that they're all gonna disappear. So that's how she's used in single target arena. That's why she's so good. It's all about her ultimate and her ability to boost her damage and her link with the Chaos Lords, particularly the Valderon and Vladoff. And Vladoff is gonna increase faction team members' damage based on lost HP up to 40%, 30% HP. And then we have Valderon. Increases faction team members' damage based on their lost HP up to 60% at 30% HP. The same thing with Gon. And they also have extra added benefits as well from having those lords as well. So I mean, she has the benefit of having some of the best Lord bonuses in the game with the Chaos faction and the Nightmare faction. Now let's quick go over to Brokkir. On his talent, he grants physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction to adjacent allies. When possessing freeze, grants physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction instead. What it's showing you is that when he's deployed, he's going to do a 10% magic and physical damage reduction to adjacent allies, which is the heroes immediately around him. And then when he has freeze, he ups it from 10% to 30%. On the basic, deals damage to one enemy. He's a defender, he doesn't really need to do anything. If he's doing anything, he's just regenerating rage. On the first passive, Freezing Breath, receiving damage has a 10% chance to inflict freeze on 2 enemies in range. If the hero has freeze, the chance will be increased by 20%. So when targets are coming and hitting them, there's a chance he's going to freeze them. A little bit of RNG. Iceberg passive. When receiving fatal damage for the first time, the hero gains freeze and becomes immune to all damage for 8 seconds. So it's basically an unyielding for up to 12 seconds. It's very nice. When him himself is frozen, he increases that chance here to 20% to freeze the ally or enemies that are hitting him. On his ult, he gains freeze and a shield equal to 80% of max HP during the effective freeze. The freeze effect will disappear with the shield. Cost is 19. Pretty typical stuff going on there. Now, as for these heroes' awakenings, Valeriya's awakenings are pretty decent. Using ignoring defense, increasing speed, extra crit rate, that's not really that important. And during the ultimate, there is a 50% chance to accumulate 2 stacks of power of the sword for each attack, up to 12 stacks in total. I mean, she's gonna really up her damage as she's going higher up in the awakenings. As for Brokkir, he just gets better and better at defending. He has Awaken 1 and Fixed Freeze on up to 5 enemies around when the shield from the ultimate is gone. So when his shield breaks, Awaken 2 is extra HP. Awaken 3 is when the hero is inflicted with freeze. Increases received healing and shield effects by 20%. Awaken 4 is very nice, all damage reductions plus 8%. Very useful. Awaken 5 is when Iceberg expires, restores 100% max HP. So he has a self-healing kind of thing going. You build him with really good rage. He's defending against a lot of enemies. As long as he's surviving, he's self-healing. I mean, Awaken 5 is very nice. As far as the rest of the ones, the only one I'm really excited about is Awaken 4 and 5. The other ones are nice, but they're not so crucial. Now, Brienne is just a good marksman. Imani is just a good mage for epic-wise. Imani does work really well in some really good Infernal Blast teams. But as for the tiers of who would pull and who shouldn't, I would say because of some rumors of some future banners coming up, and we know that there's going to be some good heroes being released soon, I'm actually going to suggest that you hold. Unless you really want these heroes, you can go for them. If you don't have a Brokkir and you're struggling without a good second defender besides Oleg, he's a really good option, but I would argue that there is other options that you can get away with until you just get lucky someday and pull them, which will happen. As far as Valeriya goes, if you're really struggling in single target arena and you want to push that, you can go for it. Otherwise, I would maybe stay clear and just hold for now because there's better heroes coming around the corner. As for the Whales and Krakens, if you don't have them A5, you're probably going to do it anyways. My initial thoughts on this is not to pull. So what am I going to be doing? Well, let's go look at the heroes quick. Let me. We have Brokkir. Mine is Awakened 4. I am not going to go and push him for Awakened 5. It's probably going to happen on accident. If I push now, I'm going to probably end up pulling him later again and just having to sell him out. So I'm just going to sit here and sit tight and Awaken 4 and wait until Awaken 5 just accidentally drops. As for Valeriya, he's Awaken 2. Now Awaken 3 would be really nice, but I do not plan on pulling for her. I want to hold on to most of my summoning crystals. I just summoned last week for Hex like crazy, got an A3. I'm down pretty low on diamonds for my account, and I'm almost out of crystals, so I mean, I'm not really planning on pulling. I do have a couple divines, but I'm not going to sink those into it either. But that is my take on whether or not you should pull. Free to play, too low spenders. No, not really. Mid spenders, if you don't have them, you just really want them, go for it. Whales and Krakens are going to do what you're going to do. I don't want to snub the heroes or anything, because Valeriya and Brokkir are both amazing heroes, and they're very useful for your account. But I just think that they have really good substitutes that you can be using and save your summoning crystals for something a little more important. But anyways guys, that's it for the video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down in the comment section if you have any questions. And thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep digging.